Go ahead.
Okay, so now I'm back with the magic of video, and I turned off the camera for a minute, and I got this nice and mixed up. See that? It's real crumbly looking, and that's how you want to get your shortening. So now comes the liquid part that's going to get them formed into their balls. I've got, don't laugh, I've got half a cup of water, a liquid measuring cup, I've got an egg, and now this one kind of freaks some people out, but I've got apple cider vinegar. That is the combination. So you're going to, whoops, I actually have a fancy dancy little whisk here. So you're going to mix that up, make sure the egg is nice and mixed up. And you're all set for your liquid ingredients. Okay, now here is where I get, some people say you need to stir it. Nah, just take your rings off because it gets a little goopy. And just go ahead and get right in there, because the more you can get in there and get it mixed quickly, the better off your pie crusts are going to be. They're going to be nice and flaky. They're going to be very light. So again, you want to handle the pie crust as little, your dough is as little time as possible. So there we go. See how quickly that mixed? I could never have done that just with a spoon or a spatula. Just wouldn't have happened that fast. But you get all 10 fingers in there and you're good to go. But like I said, it does make you a little bit goopy. Shouldn't make you that goopy. It should be able to fall off your fingers just like that. That's good. So then you start making your pie balls here. You're going to be able to make 4 of them. So go ahead and start with what you think is the right size. And then you play a little bit of guessing game. Sometimes if one is just a little bit bigger than the other one, I will put that as my base of a pie crust, and you'll see why in just a minute. Because there's a little bit more surface you have to cover. So they don't have to be perfect. Just as even as possible. This one's a little bit big. I've been doing this now for, how old am I? I'm 53 years old. I'm not 60 years old. You want to talk? I've been making these for a long time. Let's see, 40 years, because I think I was 13, 14, 15, maybe when I started making these, so almost 40 years. So if you don't get it the first time, please don't be discouraged. Please try again. They're so much better than a store-bought crust. So I'm just checking these out. They're all beautifully even. So here we go. Let's see. I like that one better. I'm going to take these and wrap them in some wax paper. And to not waste, I use wax paper to roll out the dough. So I'll take that wax paper once I'm done. Wrap each one of them in a piece of wax paper. Put them in a freezer Ziploc bag. Oh, I said Ziploc bag. Put them in a freezer bag. And you pop them in the freezer, and they'll keep for about 6 months for you. So I'm going to set that aside, and now we're going to show you the thing that most people get pretty scared about, and that is rolling out your pie crust. I think I've had this, this is my favorite. This is my favorite
rolling pin.
Rolling pin. Oh gosh, thank you, Anna. My favorite rolling pin. I've had this probably 35 years, and if it ever breaks, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. So I take 2 pieces of wax paper, a little bit bigger than the size of the plate that we're using, the pie plate, and set them up so that they're on top of each other a little bit, about halfway through. Then I'm going to sprinkle enough flour so that I've got a nice, really floury surface. Because even though it's wax paper that I'm rolling it out on, it can still stick, and you just don't want that. Again, you don't want to get discouraged doing this. So press down your pie ball just about like that. Add a little more flour onto the top. Not too much, as little as possible. Because then I go like this, I get a little flour on my rolling pin. Now I remember the name. And I can start rolling. Again, don't be afraid. Look, I don't use the handles all the time. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I just really make sure I am getting the pie dough spread as evenly and roundly as possible. See what I'm doing there? I'm just kind of taking it at all angles. Girls, are you going to try this at home later? I'm sure of that. See, I believe with all my heart that my friends are friends with me because I like to bake and they don't necessarily like to bake. So they're friends with me, but I keep them well fed.
Nah, we like her anyways.
They like me anyway. See, I need them in my life because they're significantly younger than I am. And just in case my kids turn their back on me, I will have them to push me around in a wheelchair when I get older. So here we go. So this is the tricky part. This is the part people go, no, it's going to rip. Who cares if it rips? It's a pie crust. You'll just put it together a little bit. It's no big deal. So I set my pie plate on the wax paper still. And I go over here to this part of the wax paper, put my hands underneath and on top, and I just flip it right over into the pie crust. And there you go. Bam. So I try to make sure it's going to be even all around. And remember what I said about maybe taking your bigger, if there's one that feels a little bit heavier, use that one because see already I have a little piece of that pan, the pie plate showing. So I'll take a little piece of that, mix and match. Nobody's ever going to know because you're going to have a top crust on it. So go ahead and make sure it's gently pressed down. See, here's another little surface there. I'll add it right there. And here's another piece. I'll add it right there. That way my whole plate is covered. Gently press it down. Don't mash it down. You don't want it stuck. And I poke about 8 forks right in the bottom of the plate. And then I poke about 7 or 8 around the sides. This ensures that the pie will not start bubbling because a pie is going to start bubbling if it doesn't have a little bit of air through those fork holes to escape. So there's that. And I'm going to go ahead now and roll out my second crust, but you already know how to do that. So we'll go ahead and stop the camera and I'll do that now.